Hi St. Lucia, thanks for joining me once again on In the Know. I am Nicole McDonald, the Senior Communications Officer for the Government of St. Lucia. I have a question for you. Have you signed up for digigov? If you haven't, I hope by the end of this program, you will. For so many years, there had been complaints from the public that certain government services needed to be available online. With the initiatives taken by the government of St. Lucia to enhance the services of the government by integrating technology, long lines at government offices may soon be a thing of the past. Already, at the touch of a fingertip, St. Lucians from all over the world can access services within the transportation sector due to St. Lucia's digital integrated e-services platform, an online one-stop government shop, digigov. This is thanks to the hard work of the Public Service Ministry, the Minister for Transport, Honorable Guy Joseph, and the team at the Department of Transport. Over the past 2 years, the government has invested time and funding in establishing the platform, which seeks to enhance the service delivery to citizens, businesses, investors, and other governments. Today, we will take a deep dive into this part of the government's ICT development agenda. We're talking to the Director of Public Sector Modernization, Mr. Marlon Narcis, and of course, looking at the impact of digigov on key stakeholders. Stay with us, there's a lot to learn. We'll be right back.
We can win this war. Get vaccinated. We're taking our life back. Get vaccinated.
The COVID-19 Vaccination Drive is mobile and coming to you. There you can get the vaccine. It will protect you from developing severe outcomes of COVID-19 and make you less likely to spread the virus to others. It will also help you get your life back. Most of all, you will be doing your part to help St. Lucia bounce back from this pandemic. Visit the Ministry of Health and Wellness and Bureau of Health Education Facebook pages for the mobile vaccine schedule, and let's take our life back.
Get vaccinated.
This message is brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Wait, boss. No, sorry. Excuse me, boss. Can I please be excused to go pay my driver's license?
Okay, I have to do mine as well. I'll do it later.
Okay, I'll see you on the line.
This is Edgar. He's going on the line. This is Caleb. Caleb does not go on the line. He takes care of his transactions online. Caleb uses the digigov platform. With digigov, he can access and pay for government services using a computer, tablet, or mobile device. digigov allows you to apply for and renew your driver's and vehicle permits, submit registrations, and pay fees at various other government agencies. Simply get online and sign up for a digigov account today.
Sorry it took so long, boss. Traffic was hectic, line was long. You'll not make it today?
Make it? I'm done. Go.
Don't be like Edgar. Be like Caleb. Take back your time, get off the line, and get online with digigov, serving people and businesses with that island love.
Hi, I'm Huma, and if you're like me, then you like to stay COVID-19 ready by arming yourself with information. COVID-19response.lc is your source for factual information on everything happening in St. Lucia regarding the fight against COVID-19. View the latest statistical data from our nation's Ministry of Health and factual figures from around the world. With the COVID-19 dashboard, you can stay up to date on the number of active cases currently on island, the number of recovered cases, and the number of COVID-19 tests that have been done, as well as other very useful data. You can even map the confirmed COVID-19 cases by health district and by gender. Try it out. Now that you have all the stats, stay on the website to view the latest video updates from the command center, the Chief Medical Officer and her team leading the COVID-19 response. Read the recent advisories and press releases, and most importantly, all the information on how you can protect yourself against COVID-19, the latest protocols, find out what to do if you feel sick, the location of the respiratory clinics, and know the urgent contact numbers to receive care. Planning on traveling into or out of St. Lucia? Don't be caught at the airport without the right documents. Check out the links to all the latest travel guidelines and application forms. You could also follow the reopening of the country and review the plans for our nation's economic recovery. Protect yourself and those around you by staying informed. Visit COVID19response.lc today and let's do this together.
We can win this war. Get vaccinated. We're taking our life back. Get vaccinated.
The COVID-19 vaccination drive is mobile and coming to you. Taking the 2 doses of the safe and effective AstraZeneca vaccine is our part to take St. Lucia back. Visit the Ministry of Health and Wellness and Bureau of Health Education Facebook pages to find out the vaccination time and venue nearest to you. Bring personal identification, and if you already have your first dose, bring your COVID-19 vaccination card when getting the second.
Get vaccinated.
This message is brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Welcome back to In the Know. Today we're talking digigov and the success we have had so far in modernizing the public service and improving access to government services. Driving these modernization efforts is the Department of the Public Service. Pay attention to my interview with Marlon Narcis to find out more about the services available and even more about how young people interested in the digital economy can tap into new opportunities. Thanks again for joining us on In the Know. We're talking digigov today. I'm trying to give you all the information you need on understanding exactly what digigov is and how you can access the platform, and even discussing where we are as a government in terms of our information communications and technology agenda. We're talking today with Chief ICT Officer, Mr. Marlon Narcis. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me on the show today.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
I really want us to break down for the public what exactly is the ICT policy, and then we can get into digigov and what the intent is, because I know there are major plans for the future in terms of the public being able to access services of the government online, and obviously even maybe for the public servants themselves to be able to use technology more in the work that they do every day. So let's just start with the ICT. What is the agenda? Where are we going with ICT in government?
Okay, thank you for that question, and good morning, good evening to your listeners. I would just like to say that the government has embarked on a digital transformation agenda, a very aggressive agenda, to focus on the expansion of the digital economy through specific ICT interventions across the various sectors of the economy. So within our national ICT policy and sectoral alignment strategy, we're focusing on some key sectors in the economy like education, health, tourism, agriculture, government itself, and also looking at ICT as a business and how we can grow that ICT business sector to have a bigger contribution to the GDP of government, of the country. And so we embarked on the digigov platform as a catalyst for that digital agenda in an attempt for us to be able to grow that digital ecosystem through the use of cutting-edge technology and innovation, and also bringing the private sector along through that process.
Okay, what has that process been like, especially as you just said in terms of incorporating the private sector? There would have been a lot of consultation.
Yes.
What is it that people were clamoring for in terms of government services that they wanted easier accessibility to?
Well, one thing that we recognize is that the private sector wants to be involved and participate in helping government formulate that policy agenda. And so the consultations took that framework, and essentially we were able to get a lot of feedback from the private sector, a lot of feedback from our internal stakeholders within government, and just looking at what we know that were the the requirements of the public at large, we decided, okay, let us look at what would be those high capacity services that government offer, which of those that are most in higher usage, and then we can then frame our policy around that and develop an ICT solution that would then facilitate the public being able to access government services.
So
more
basically what you're saying is you looked at places that had long lines.
Yes, more or less, yes.
Yes, so so let's get to where we started. The pilot was really with the transportation sector.
Yes.
Over the years, we've heard so many complaints about persons having to go into the transport department and basically access some of the services that are there, in keeping with, you know, the way the world is moving. People are very busy, so taking time off to do that was very difficult. So explain to us, obviously, why we decided to start in that sector. What are some of the services we had to put online, and what was going on behind the scenes to get that going?
Yes, so the Department of Transport is our proof of concept for the digigov implementation.
Proof of concept, explain that before you move on.
Yes, okay, so the proof of concept is more or less our pilot site, where we looked at several other major activities that need to take place now and how it would support future decisions. So, for example, we also going to be implementing a national authentication framework, which is more or less the government's identity management system. And we thought that where would be the better government entity that we could review those processes, put in those efficiency gains through the use of technology, but also see how best it can lay the platform for us to catapult to the other major component of the project, which is the national authentication framework. And so we decided to select the Department of Transport, again considering the long lines and just, you know, addressing the outcry from the public for better service.
Okay, what was the behind the scenes of getting this going with the transport department?
So we had several stakeholder engagements, several user acceptance training programs and change management programs, just to ensure that the users of the system at transport who were very familiar, they were the ones who provided us with all of the insight into their needs, and also looking at the requirements of the public as well. And so the behind the scenes is up to today, it's still ongoing. But one of the good things about the platform and how we were able to engage the public is through our social media presence. We've been able to get a lot of feedback from the public and actually have included that feedback into some of the revised requirements for the system, and over time we're making those changes.
As it stands now, how many services are available?
At this point we have 17 driver's license related services on the platform, and within the next 2 months we will be launching another 12 services, focusing on the registry of companies and the civil status registry.
Oh, wow,
so St. Lucians would soon be able to apply for their birth certificates online.
Okay, that's phenomenal. What's the goal? What's the end goal in terms of having government services online, numbers wise?
Right, so our goal is to have 154 services. I like to refer to it as digigov 1.0. And then once we're done, we're then looking at additional functionality and capability. But also, once we have a critical number of services online, this is when we're going to have the second component of the project come into play, which is the private sector involvement from a technology standpoint. And so we want to make sure, and we spoke about the digital economy earlier, and so this is how we see that we could catalyze the digital economy. So
how can you break that down?
Right, so digigov would be the baseline. So more or less we're providing that basic set of functionality that is needed, so somebody could apply, they could pay, they could track the service, they could track the transaction. And then we want to go further, mobile app development. We want to be able to plug in mobile apps to the platform, but we're not going to do that ourselves. We're going to get the private sector involved to build those apps that could connect it into the system.
So I know there are a lot of young people that are looking at the digital economy right now. Are you saying that they should start to set up those types of things so they can maybe come in on this?
Yes. Actually, I'm happy that you asked that question. There are two major initiatives that are coming on stream soon. One would be the grassroots implementation of the Service Bureau agent. So as we speak now,
that's a mouthful.
Yeah. There are Service Bureau agents at the Department of Transport, and there are also Service Bureau agents deployed throughout a few of the community access centers across the island. So in the community of Mikud, the community of Soufre, Vieux-Fort, Canaries, and Moshi, there are Service Bureau agents who are there to provide that support to the public. Okay. But we also want to use this Service Bureau concept as a form of revenue generation for anyone who would be willing to take the Service Bureau agent course, so that they can then open their own Service Bureau, and obviously through the development of an SI, persons will be able to make some money off of that, providing that back office service to the platform for the average user. And this is important because as part of our digital inclusive agenda, we want to make sure that if somebody does not have that capacity to go online, or is not familiar with the technology, there is still somebody that could assist them in still accessing government conveniently through our online platforms.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit to talk about some of the agencies, private sector, you would have had consultations with on this. We have spoken to some of those stakeholders, including the driving instructors. How do you think they have been using the platform? Have you gotten feedback from them? What's the ongoing discussion about the platform?
Yes, outside of the public, the two other major stakeholders that we've met with and provided training and have consultations with is the driving schools and the minibus association. With the driving schools, they have been utilizing the platform fully, because all of the services that are available now, most of them are driver's license related, and so the driving schools have been able to take full advantage of using the service conveniently. We still have a few persons who are not au courant with the technology as yet, and it's a work in progress, but our office is opened full-time for persons who need assistance, and we provide online service assistance to some of the driving school persons who have difficulty accessing the platform. And again, as I indicated earlier, we try our best to incorporate a lot of the suggestions once we recognize that the impact would not affect the workflow that is built into the system.
What about the bus drivers, the bus sector?
Yes, the bus sector, we've met with the Minibus Association. Actually, we had a very good consultation with them, and it's out of that discussion we established those satellite offices for the service bureaus to assist the minibus drivers, because one thing that we recognize through the discussions with them is that they do not want to have to leave the bus route to be going to transport on the long lines, and we know we have the platform which is convenient for online interaction, but some persons still would prefer to get that service bureau type of assistance, and so we set that up. But the next step for us with the Minibus Association is to train persons within the secretariats, and the secretariats could then be like that service bureau on behalf of their membership and be able to apply for the services from there. In fact, one of the suggestions from the consultations was that the secretariat can pay on behalf of those persons, and then they would then pay the secretariat back over time. And actually, coming out of that was the ability now, it's in the UAT environment, our user acceptance environment,
Thank you for breaking down the
for what do you call it again? The shopping carts. So you can now pay several services at one time. You apply for 3-4 of them, and you can pay them together in one bundle, or you can break them up depending on which one of them that you want to pay for at the time. I just want to reiterate one thing on the platform, as well as one of the other initiatives that we're undertaking, which would impact the young people, and for that matter, anybody who's willing to participate in the digital economy. And we got a World Bank loan for the implementation of the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project. And this essentially, through this project, we could identify some of the gaps that we have in our current process agenda, but also looking at some ways of catalyzing that digital economy again. And one of the things that we have there is a component which we refer to as co-working spaces. So it has to do with user training and development, and then we selecting the top performers, put them in teams and provide them with access to our office space, our office environment. We provide them with equipment, and then we ask them to build certain applications based on the requirements of the digigov project.
Okay.
So we're going to be doing with the private sector, but also trying to harness those skills and capacity that is out there that we don't know about, but we're going to be able to access those persons through training and capacity building.
Okay, so people will be watching this wondering, okay, he just spoke about it, but how do I get involved? How do I access it? Where can I find more information?
Right, yeah, so we only recently hired our project implementation unit. We're staffed with that unit, and so we're trying to finalize our work plan and our procurement plan with the bank, with the World Bank. And once that is done, we will then be putting out tenders on requests for proposals as well for trainers. And once that is done, then we'll reach out to the public to advertise for the training programs to start.
Okay, that's phenomenal news. I wanted to speak, Marlon, a little bit about the reception from the public service to moving into technology. I hope I'm not putting you on the spot or anything, but I think you find that when you come to speak to people about technology or going digital,
yes,
there's some hesitancy. Have you found that in particular with the department that you were just able to put some of the services online? What was their feeling? Because people can feel like, hey, I might, my job might be jeopardized in some way if I can no longer do this paperwork.
Yes.
So can you speak to that? Because there's an emotional thing as well that happens with going digital.
Yes, I think that's a very good question, Nicole. Actually, it is something that it's a continuous process for us in the back with our change management framework. As part of our project implementation process, we have a component which is called the change management for user adoption, and it's specifically geared towards user adoption, both on the public side as well as internally to our stakeholders, and because we've built in efficiencies into the platform, which now changes the way persons work, and also change the requirements for work as well. And so we focus heavily on user training, and so the user acceptance testing that I spoke about was specifically geared towards those persons on the inside, and to ensure that there was buy-in from the start, we incorporated all of their proposals, their suggestions into the revised 2B processes that is now existing in the platform. So as I said, it's an ongoing process. We do encounter those change management issues from time to time, but I think it's important that the beneficiary agencies embrace that change so that they could assist us in embracing and assisting their staff members in embracing the new technology and the change going forward.
I actually think that there are some very mundane tasks that can be done digitally, and that people can move on to other things. Their job descriptions can maybe be heightened or improved, and maybe they can focus more on being trained in certain other areas. So I think it's very, very good. I wanted to speak a little bit about the security aspect of it from the public's end. Is my information secure? How can I, especially in the environment we are in, people are concerned about their information being stolen. How secure are the sites that we use or the servers?
Yes. Probably I should start on
I'm not a technology person, so I might be using the wrong terms.
No, you did well. You did well. But I will actually start on the legal and regulatory framework end, and this was. The technology is the easiest thing to put in place, but we have to now focus on what would be the legal and regulatory framework that would be required for us to be able to really implement this project and to have technology online as we do now. In 2011, the government passed 3 pieces of legislation. One was the E-Transactions Act, the Data and Privacy Protection, and the Computer Crimes Act. These are all acts that exist right now in St. Lucia. However, we had to then get them commenced or effective so that they can be used in the court of law more or less. And so the E-Transactions Act was brought into force on the 25th of June 2020, which is the same day of the launch of the platform. The Computer Crimes Bill Act, came into force in July of 2018, and we're now having some discussions internally to get the Data Protections Act commenced as well. So, we have that aggressive legal and regulatory framework agenda. We've presented also a e-government and e-government's bill to the Attorney General's chambers. We've received feedback from them because we've hired a consultant to assist us with that. And so there will be an additional piece of legislation which will support things like the online online transactions, but more specifically looking at the cloud computing. That's what's eluding me, sorry.
Yes.
So cloud computing is where we're going now, and so we felt it was important for us to have legislation that speaks specifically to cloud computing and how government can harness cloud computing. And we are going to be also implementing a government cloud. So part of that Caribbean Digital Transformation project I spoke about, we will also be setting up a mobile data center to consolidate all of government's data assets. And that would allow us to become more resilient and be able to attend to the needs of the public in a more precise manner, knowing that government has some level of business continuity infrastructure within the island, on the island, as well as outside of St. Lucia.
I mean, if there's anything COVID has taught us, it's that we need to have more of those services online because people will be interacting less with each other. You also have a situation now where a lot of the public service is now on a work from home. So we need to lessen that. How has COVID-19 affected the work of your unit and your plans going forward? Has it caused you to maybe speed up a lot of things?
I would not say that it caused us to speed up, because our agenda, we started this process in 2018, and so some of the feedback we got initially was, hey, because of COVID we started doing this. No. There was a substantial amount of work that went into this before, so we needed to conduct an assessment of every single agency. We have 13 agencies that are part of this project, and we've identified 154 services from those agencies. And so for each of these agencies and each of these services, we have to go through an as-is analysis, so understand what exists on the ground, then develop another document where we look at all of the to-be, how we want the system to look, how we want it to work. And then based on that, we have to develop the requirements, get the users to accept that requirement, and then begin building the platform. So that cannot happen in a 1 month period. It took us at least 18 months to get to the point where we could at least started building the platform.
How did y'all feel when people were saying it's only because of COVID?
It was a bit disappointing to that we would have gotten that type of feedback initially, but I think that because the platform has come in, I could probably even say to the public now that you, the public, have now had over 14,000 transactions on the platform. Right? And out of that 14,000, 33% of those transactions have been online. So this is remarkable, just for 17 services in less than a year. And so we're hoping that by the time we have ROSIP on, we have civil status on, we have commerce on,
Civil status will be huge.
Yes, it will be huge.
I need to get my birth.
And it's amazing the number of times that persons apply for birth certificates in St. Lucia, and even the driver's license. We have such a large number of young people applying for their driver's license. It's amazing. And so, when we're just looking at all of that feedback, we felt that we know that we're going in the right direction, and the public would definitely benefit even further once these other services come online.
Is it exciting for you and your team seeing this actually come to fruition? Because even when I was in the media, I used to hear about this a lot, and I'm actually quite impressed by the amount of work that you guys have been able to do. What does this achievement mean to you, and where you see yourself in 2021, 2022?
It's very exciting. It's very fulfilling. We work very long hours because that's what the job requires, but it's just such a rewarding feeling to know that you could provide a service that everybody needs, and even sometimes in the one-on-one interaction. So, for example, I'm a service bureau agent myself. I have a help desk account, and sometimes when Johannes or Denise are busy doing other things, and the reception, Mr. Narcis, there's somebody who needs some assistance on digigov. I said, okay, forward it to me. I will go on the account and provide that one-on-one assistance. And so the same training that we provided to those users, I sometimes have to use those same training myself. So it's really, really nice and really interactive.
So let's give a shout out to your team. Let's see if you can remember all their names. Go.
Okay, so we have Johannes Kodra. He is our technical lead on the project. Denise Joseph, she's our change management lead. The PS, Peggy Ansudat, she is our sponsor and provides a lot of overhead and oversees our implementation. And myself as the project manager for the project. We also have Ms. Ashley Marshall. She assists us on the social media end. So we constantly expanding our social media space, and we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram as well, and so we try to provide as much information to the public through those channels. We recently started our traditional media platform, so we're now advertising on the radio and on the television as well. In fact, last week I was on Choice Solutions, again trying to reach out to the public and to meet them where they are. One of the things that we say, we want to meet you where you are at your convenience, provide you the service, and give you as much information as possible.
So what's the first step for the public in terms of accessing the services?
All right, to access the service, you need to go on www.digigov.govt.lc. If you're not registered, you could register there. Once you've registered, you could apply for any of the 17 services that are online. We also get the question, but my driver's license don't need to be renewed. We say, okay, but yes, we also need to register persons for our national authentication framework. So in the future, when you need to apply for or do your taxes, you will not have to go and register again, right? When you have to register a business, you're already on the platform. You need a birth certificate, you're already there. And the platform will also provide you with notifications. So from the 54,000 drivers that are on the original database, those persons who left a cell phone number, the system will actually give you a notification that your driver's license will be up for renewal soon.
So you'll not be caught off guard.
You'll not be caught off guard. And in fact, in the process we've built so somebody can actually renew their driver's license 3 months ahead of the time that is scheduled for renewal. Yes.
I'll give you the final word, Marlon, just to let the public know, like, where you see this going. What is your ultimate goal for improving the government's accessibility by the public?
Yes, I'm happy for this opportunity, Nicole. In fact, as you said, that it reminded me of something I wanted to make sure that I mentioned. The Prime Minister a couple of weeks ago mentioned the digital certificate, the COVID digital certificate. We have been integral in that process, and so within the next 2 weeks or so, persons will be able to access digigov to apply for a digital certificate after they receive both doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The platform is flexible enough to accommodate any other vaccine that we may have on island, and so I think all of these types of activities just gives more legitimacy to the platform as well. And so we've even had discussions with other agencies of government who recognize the importance of digigov, and we could now provide our payment platform, for example, as a service to other agencies. And the national authentication framework could also be as a service, not to other government agencies, but also to the private sector. So I could give an example. So right now, for example, when you go to the bank to cash a check, even though you have an account at the bank, you need to show proof of ID. Sometimes they want 2 forms of ID. That will be no more once the bank could integrate with us, because we now have all of the information that they would need required for them to verify who you are, right? So the digigov platform is going to expand our digital ecosystem. And just to add to that as well, we have a lot of other complementary projects going on now. You may have heard of the CASE project, which concluded. So right now, we have all of government agencies connected through a fiber optic network around the island. In fact, we're just about to sign off on the second component of the the broadband for that. So we would have two sets of broadband connecting into that platform, one from Digital, one from Lime. So government is building all of this amount of redundancy into this network. We're also expanding our GINet project as well, which will allow for more ubiquitous access through Wi-Fi connectivity across several communities around St. Lucia. So our initial project had 6 communities. We now have adding another 8 communities. Pigeon Island would be fully a Wi-Fi zone in the next couple of months once we through the second phase of the project. Okay. So we have a lot of stuff going on within that digital space, and these are just the outside-facing projects. We have several efficiency projects within government that are ongoing now, like the EDRMS, the Electronic Document and Record Management System, our Visitor Log Manager System. We're also looking at revamping our HR.
Find out more about that on digigov?
Well, not on digigov, but these internal efficiencies would be going from agency to agency, and once we're ready for these agencies, we will be meeting with them to discuss
Okay, sounds great. I wanted to just finally, the digital COVID certificate you're talking about, will it be compatible internationally? Is that something we're looking at?
Yes. With the certificate, you'll have a QR code that can be scanned by any QR code reader. Further, if you were to go to any foreign country, you could the authorities there will be able to query the government's database to get the information on your certificate. Okay. Right, and again, we've built in all of the security in there. We've signed. We're just about to. We forwarded the MOU back to Ministry of Health, looking again at user security, data protection, and all these things. We wanted to make sure these things are taken into consideration. And so, as a data controller, we recognize what the responsibilities are for government, and we want to also assure the public who are the data subjects that, hey, your data is being protected and is a major consideration from the government in our digital transformation agenda.
Thank you so much, Marlon, for speaking with us. I wish you and your team the best. You have so much work ahead of you, but you've already done so much already. So thank you for all the hard work that you guys put in. Thank you for sitting with us today. I hope this has helped the public of St. Lucia to better understand some of the behind the scenes of the ICT agenda of the government of St. Lucia. Back to studio. Thank you so much, Marlon. Remember, people, stay close to the Office of the Prime Minister's official Facebook pages and the Public Service Ministry to find out more about the digital economy. And those of you who are developing your own apps or gaining training in the digital world, you're heading in the right direction. How has digigov impacted key sectors? When we come back, we speak to the people who have a direct link to the transport sector and hear their true feelings about digigov. Does it really work? Come right back to find out.
digigov sel service internet gouvernement qui ka permette résidents ici pour payer et conduire affaires avec gouvernement en son computer, tablette et bien portable. digigov facile et à l'aise, mais vous pouvez pour enregistrer avant au service. Pour enregistrer, vous avez besoin de licence chauffeur qui n'y valait, numéro NIC et l'adresse email qui n'y valait. Pour enregistrer pour servir digigov, ouvrez un web browser sur computer et mettez www.digigov.govt.lc. Vous avez une fenêtre qui est ouverte devant vous. Touchez le bouton qui dit sign up. Mettez détails. Genre, numéro NIC, passeport et licence chauffeur. Et touchez le bouton qui dit check. Une fenêtre qui est ouverte devant vous qui a information. Mettez l'adresse email et touchez le bouton qui dit submit pour continuer et puis travailler l'application. Vous avez un email qui a des détails login et password. Retournez à sous fenêtre login avec un numéro NIC et password là ou joindre un email. Vous ne pouvez enregistrer un password neuf pour continuer. Mettez un password neuf, vérifiez et après touchez le bouton qui dit submit. Après, un fenêtre neuf qui est ouvert qui n'y a pas pour mettre des détails l'adresse et information pour faire contact et puis touchez le bouton qui dit submit pour changer les détails. Vous avez une boîte de conversation qui est pas web. Touchez le bouton qui dit OK pour continuer. Ça c'est tout. Actuellement, ça service digigov. Si vous avez des problèmes avec l'assistance, visitez les Division Transport et bien téléphonez le numéro 468 6300 digigov. serving people and businesses.
Hi, I'm Huma, and if you're like me, then you like to stay COVID-19 ready by arming yourself with information. COVID-19response.lc is your source for factual information on everything happening in St. Lucia regarding the fight against COVID-19. View the latest statistical data from our nation's Ministry of Health and factual figures from around the world. With the COVID-19 dashboard, you can stay up to date on the number of active cases currently on island, the number of recovered cases, and the number of COVID-19 tests that have been done, as well as other very useful data. You can even map the confirmed COVID-19 cases by health district and by gender. Try it out. Now that you have all the stats, stay on the website to view the latest video updates from the command center, the chief medical officer and her team leading the COVID-19 response. Read the recent advisories and press releases, and most importantly, all the information on how you can protect yourself against COVID-19. The latest protocols, find out what to do if you feel sick, the location of the respiratory clinics, and know the urgent contact numbers to receive care. Planning on traveling into or out of St. Lucia? Don't be caught at the airport without the right documents. Check out the links to all the latest travel guidelines and application forms. You could also follow the reopening of the country and review the plans for our nation's economic recovery. Protect yourself and those around you by staying informed. Visit COVID-19response.lc today, and let's do this together.
We can win this war. Get vaccinated. We're taking our life back. Get vaccinated.
The COVID-19 vaccination drive is mobile and coming to you. Taking the 2 doses of the safe and effective AstraZeneca vaccine is our part to take St. Lucia back. Visit the Ministry of Health and Wellness and Bureau of Health Education Facebook pages to find out the vaccination time and venue nearest to you. Bring personal identification, and if you already have your first dose, bring your COVID-19 vaccination card when getting the second.
Get vaccinated.
This message is brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
With digigov, you can access and pay for government services using a computer, tablet, or mobile device. For more information on digigov, the services, general updates, or customer service, call our Service Bureau agency at 311. Digigov is also available 24/7 online via the website platform, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and WhatsApp. You can also visit ICT centers located in Ancillary, Niku, Moshi, Soufre, and Viewport to access the digigov platform free of charge. Digigov allows you to apply for, renew, and replace your driver's license, apply for driver's license tests, and much more. Use your own device or visit an ICT center and sign up for a digigov account today. Take back your time, get off the line, and get online with digigov, serving people and businesses with that island love.
Welcome back. We have learned that the government is on course to have 154 public e-services across 7 ministries and 13 agencies in a central online hub using a phased approach. This started pre-COVID, and it has seriously helped to address the challenges and constraints imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic and people-to-people interaction. With over 54,000 registered drivers and 80,000 vehicles, the Division of Transport was identified as the most suitable agency for the digital service integration. Phase 1 of the project involved the rollout of 2 driver-related services: the renewal and replacement of driver's licenses, which included the redesign of the driver's license. Now there are several services from the Transport Department available on the site. I spoke to Avelina Stacy Nelson, our first female president of the National Association of Driving Schools, about her use of the site.
My name is Avelina Stacy Nelson. I am the owner of Kickstart Riding and Driving School. Kickstart started as a riding school. My main focus was to encourage persons who ride motorcycle to get licensed. There was a need to add on the driving sector to it, because persons want to get a driver's license and a riding license, so it would have been fitting to join the two. And of course I got encouraged by other driving school owners, to expand the business. So I started that 6 years ago. Over the last 6 years, I pretty much enjoy driving. I enjoy teaching persons how to ride and drive. I think I have the patience for it. So it is a field that I thoroughly enjoy, and plus I'm working for myself, do my own schedule. So it's a beautiful field, the driving school sector. I like the fact that digigov is a one-stop shop where basically you can have all your services when it's relating to transport. When you have all your services in one location, and you can sit down in the comfort of your own home, your car, and you can execute a service or a task, an application that you want to do. So rather than standing up on a line, you spend more time in your vehicle. digigov is a new platform. It has its disadvantages and its advantages. One of the difficult things with digigov is that not everybody is tech savvy. So we have a lot of older instructors who are not able to navigate the system. So it would have taken them a lot of time for them to learn how to operate the system, know where to go. Vis-a-vis somebody who knows how to probably just shop online, it'll be easy for them to navigate the system. digigov would not allow us to do certain things. So right now we are waiting for us to do from automatic to manual. We have not gotten to that point in digigov where somebody can apply online to move from getting an automatic license to a manual license. That are switching students after the system have closed off. It has reached its limit for a theory booking. We don't have that capability of switching students so that we can continue with the process. So it still has its limitations, but from where it started in June last year and where it is now, it has come a very long way. And I do expect that in the near future we would be able to do our theory online. We'll be able to get our license within a day. After you do your practical outside, go inside, pay the cashier, and move to the information counter and collect your card. The process is getting very easy. I had not too long ago a student who did his practical outside. By the time he got to his house, I was able to tell him that, they got a notification that his status was updated, that he passed, and he was able to register on digigov, apply for his provisional license, and pay for it within the same day. And I think he said he went as far as getting a notification that he could have come in to do his picture and signature at the ministry one time. So that in itself is very good, and he liked that because he wanted to drive for the weekend and he was able to do so. One of the things I enjoy about digigov is the fact that you can basically do everything online. You don't have to take a long line. Everything is right online. So from the time you do your application, you go straight down to payments. You can pay with your Visa card online. That's a beautiful thing. That is less time for us on a line at the ministry and more time in our vehicle to operate. The digigov platform allows the government to have service bureaus where you don't necessarily have to go to the ministry to do a transaction. So right now you can do transactions in Viewfort, in Miku, in Soufrière, in Ancillary, and Moshi. You can actually go to an ICT center and you can do any transaction when it relates to digigov. Whatever service that digigov provides, the ICT center will be able to facilitate your application.
Thank you, Stacy, for your total frankness during this interview. I have no doubt the digigov team will continue to work with you on improving the services offered. Of course, we also had to speak to the bus drivers sector about the online services on offer. Let's take a look.
My name is Kentry Frederick, the first Vice President of the National Council on Public Transportation. For most of the persons that have been interviewed on the app, they think it is a very good initiative. Not because of the security of it, but also the time in terms of paying for the license, and then it reduces on your downtime in terms of operations, leaving your day's work to go and pay So it's a very good initiative, and we applaud it quite well. Training is available through the training team. However, as you know, we're in the COVID period, so that has slowed it down a bit for us. So we're looking at the blessings of the CMO when we can have classroom sessions, which most persons need to understand. Yes, the training need to be done, but we're looking at the health issue even before the training. So what we are trying to say to them as it is being introduced, that we want them to understand it is for the greater good of the operators, and we are also looking at other initiatives, for example, the renewal of the route permit and other services that are being provided through the platform. The security of the system we are doing, and the using the app, your downtime is less. So you can, what we are looking at doing is to discuss with the ministry in terms of training 2 or more persons on the executive or those that are computer savvy on every association. So you don't have to, you can renew your license while at work and then collect later. Also, if you are doing the route permit, renewing the route permit, you can do it likewise and then continue working. In discussion with some of the other executive members, we realize, for example, somebody from Soufre, Vieux-Fort, the Southern Belt, having to come up to Castries just to do one thing that you can do within 10 minutes. You know, look at the cost implications. If you look at a lot of different factors, the better aspect of it is to use the platform. In tying it with the cashless system, it makes it a bit more efficient, because the cashless system is designed to have persons travel but not be vulnerable to crime in terms of being picked on or robbed and so on. So when we discuss that during our training sessions, which we believe is very receptive to most of our commuters, our drivers and owners, because the minibus sectors is in 3 separate forms. So you have the route permit owner, you have the driver, and you have the commuter which use the service. So we're trying to do all of that into one. So you know, if you use the platform, you pay your driver's license. When it is available, you can renew your permit, and also the person can travel from point A to point B almost flawlessly. So basically, we're looking forward to the classroom setting and the training session, as long as it is permitted by the CMO and the health team. And we are hoping that the grace to be provided by the training team will still be available to us. The importance of that app is such that you have to understand how the world is evolving, and that, for example, if you work from Vieux-Fort to Soufre in these hard COVID times, and even before that, you have to leave a day's work completely to come up to Castries to pay your driver's license and so on. When you use that app, you basically, as we said, you're online, you have maybe 20 minutes or somewhere thereabout to load on the peg, as we call it. You can actually use the app, do your transaction, and you're good to go. So looking at it, you save time, you save money, and basically everybody is guaranteed that the vehicle they bought in, the driver's license is paid, the insurance is paid, the permit is paid. So we're looking at not just the driver's license, we're looking at the insurance later down the line, we're looking at the route permit. So you are sure that that particular vehicle, and also that the driver is in good standing. So we're not just looking at just one aspect of it. When we are established with the digigov app, as we said, I think further down the line we will understand that we have done it for the greater good of the commuters and the operators.
That was a great look at everything going on with digigov. Thank you to all the stakeholders that are involved. You heard from the government perspective, but you also heard from the actual people who are using the platform. The government of St. Lucia will continue to encourage the use of technology, and by now, I hope that you have logged on to digigov.govt.lc to access the services available now and in the future. Thank you to the Department of the Public Service, the Transport Department, and of course the ICT team of the Government of St. Lucia. I am Nicole McDonald, reminding you to stay informed and stay in the know. See you next week. That online on your LinkedIn.
Oh, that doesn't change.
We put it in the...
Yep. Alright, what was the last point I said? For him, I did everything for him. Okay. Yeah.
You're watching DBS.
With all that's happening around us, simple adjustments are necessary to keep us all safe. When calling 911, we may need a little more information to deploy the right personnel and protocols. You may be asked about your travel history, signs and symptoms, contact and movement history, and whether others in your household are exhibiting similar symptoms. Please be patient and cooperative during this time to ensure you receive the best possible care while keeping our first responders safe.
We have a situation on our hands and it's called the coronavirus.
To help stop the spread of this virus,
good hygiene is essential.
So be responsible.
Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds.
Especially when you cough, sneeze, or blow your nose.
Cough or sneeze in your arm or tissue and dispose responsibly.
Avoid touching your face.
Have as little contact between you and other people.
If you develop symptoms, seek medical advice
and stay home away from people until full recovery.
Remember those prone to viruses,
like older adults and people who have serious underlying medical conditions.
Be informed.
Know that the virus spreads mainly through close contact with an infected person through coughing or sneezing.
Know the symptoms: fever, cough, and shortness of breath.
Stop the spread. Keep St. Lucia healthy.
Call 311 for the